Okay guys, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Now, fasten your seatbelts. Here we go. Alright guys, I'm back and it's Thursday, August the 20th, and it is 9:59 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm late, but then it really wouldn't be a night if I wasn't late. Alright, so no excuses. Let's just get into the news. Okay, and we've got lots of that. Not that page. Here we are. Now, before we get started here, I do have a few people to thank. The following donated via coffee: Lois Bateson, Kristen again, not sure if it's the same Kristen or a different Kristen, Tyler, Miss Missy 2322, and Diane. Now, I think I may have, but I'm not sure if I have already thanked these people previously. So if I have, well, I've thanked them twice. And Patreon, Dana Sizemore increased her pledge. Brandy Henricks, that's a brand new Patreon supporter, and Exploring the Autism Universe increased her pledge. Now, I do appreciate the support very, very much. Support is way down, I guess, because I think everybody is struggling right now, and and I do understand that, but I do appreciate those of you that do support this channel and are able to. I know there are others that are unable to, and you should feel no guilt. You are always welcome here. So let's just dive right into the news. Okay, now here's the first thing. And because I didn't do a show yesterday, I've really been dealing with pain. I didn't do a show yesterday, so some of this may be a little bit older than other items. So we've got a mixture here. All right, so this from Donald J. Trump. I stand for law and order, and I took action. Operation Legend has led to the arrest of over 1,000 criminals, including 90 killers, all while sleepy Joe Biden and the radical left excuses violence and crime in their Democrat-run cities. I want safety and security. Joe allows crime. Well, that is true, and that's the bottom line. And I think, we can all stand with President Trump in saying that we all want safety and security as well, and we're not getting that. Those of you that are in Democrat-run cities are not getting that right now. So let's come down here, and here is Donald J. Trump again. He says the Democrats are demanding mail-in ballots because the enthusiasm meter for slow Joe Biden is the lowest in recorded history, and they are concerned that very few people will turn out to vote. Instead, they will search and find people, then harvest and return ballots. Not fair. Not fair, not legal, and certainly, well, I mean, if they can go out and do everything else in person, they can vote in person. And I know you've heard me say that numerous times in the past, but that's just a fact. If you can go to Walmart and go to a concert and go to the beach and go here and go there, and, then you are certainly fine to go and vote. All right. Now let's come down here. I liked this. Look at the look on Nancy Pelosi's face there. She just has this haughty look. She always has this haughty look, as if she is above the law, above the people. We are beneath her. We are just the peons. And the first three bills introduced in the House by Democrats: impeach the president, ban the Electoral College, and $54 billion in foreign aid. Well, doesn't that say it all? Do the Democrats even work? I don't think so. I think that they're taking taxpayer money for doing absolutely nothing. And if you think these people, oh, no, surely they're working, well, take a look at their districts. If their districts are in a mess, they're not working. And I just hope that some of these people will be voted out. I think that the way that they've been in, some people, I think the way that they've gotten in year after year after year is through cheating. That's what I believe. I can't believe that thinking people would vote for these people. It's beyond me. Anyway, if my district was the mess that Nancy Pelosi's was, I would be very, very upset, and I would be marching to her office and demanding why and what she's doing about it, which appears to be nothing. She's too interested in getting the president out. That's all she's interested in. And below that, it says, you know, the $54 billion in foreign aid, it says nothing on healthcare or our safety, because they're not concerned about our well-being or our safety. And they're certainly not concerned with keeping America intact. All right, now let's come down here. Now this is something, it's something that'll make you feel good. It really will, and I love this, and I think there should be more stories about this, because everybody on the left is screaming about police violence and this and defunding the police and how horrible they are and whatever. And then you have this story, and this really, really warmed my heart. I hope it does for you too. Now, here is a police officer, and says this woman stole 5 eggs to feed her kids. Instead of arresting her, Tarrant police officer William Stacy bought her a truckload of groceries. And you can see her there and how grateful she is. She is giving him a hug. She's thanking him. She's giving him a hug down here. Now, you know what? He could have arrested her. He could, easily have arrested her, but he didn't. He realized this woman's not a criminal. She just has a child at home that she needs to feed. And I don't know if it was his money alone that provided the truckload of groceries or if the other officers went in on it, but that is a wonderful story and it deserves to be seen by everyone. But unfortunately, that will never make it to the mainstream media because it doesn't fit the narrative, right? All right, let's go on. Now, this is kind of old news, but, well, it's not really old. It's just a couple days old. But let's see this. This is big news. Oh my, emails about Seth Rich between Strzok and Page released. Now, wait a minute. This is from January 27th. So this is not. Okay. That's my fault. Somebody forwarded that to me and I did not realize it was old news. I'm so sorry. So let's not go into that because it's old news now. January, my gosh, it's like past old. It's stale and moldy by now. Okay, let's come down here and look at this. Now, and it says individuals this is from today, so it's hot and fresh. Individuals no, it isn't. It's from yesterday. Pardon me. I don't know where I am or what I'm saying or what I'm doing. I don't know. Individuals light fire, break windows, and vandalize building during mass gathering at Multnomah Building. In the evening hours of August 18th, 2020, a group of several hundred people gathered in Colonel Sumner's Park, located at the 800 block of Southeast Taylor Street, for a march that began around 9 p.m. The march proceeded west to the 500 block of, hang on here, I'm going to make this a little bigger so my eyes don't go crazy. The march proceeded west to the 500 block of Southeast Hawthorne Boulevard, which is where the Multnomah Building is located. During the march, streets were blocked to vehicular traffic by support vehicles associated with the group. When the group reached the Multnomah Building, they blocked traffic on Southeast Hawthorne Boulevard at Southeast Grand Avenue. Several people in the crowd were seen carrying shields and wearing helmets and gas masks. Many of the group members began to vandalize the Multnomah Building with graffiti. Around 10 p.m., several people started a large dumpster fire near the Southeast 6th Avenue and Southeast Hawthorne Boulevard. Another fire was started in a dumpster, and the dumpster was then rolled toward the southwest side of the Multnomah Building by members of the group. During this time, small fires were lit outside of the Multnomah Building, and people in the group began cracking the glass windows of the building. Several windows were cracked, and some windows were broken completely open when group members threw large rocks at them. 10:15 p.m., members in the group started throwing ignited paper inside of the Multnomah Building in an attempt to start a fire. When this did not work, members of the group began spraying lighter fluid inside of the building. After spraying lighter fluid inside the building, someone in the crowd threw a large burning object inside of the building. This action created a fire big enough to set the fire alarms and sprinkler systems off inside the building. Because the crowd blocked traffic and started several dumpster fires, vandalized the building, not limited to graffiti, but also broke windows and successfully started a fire inside the building, the gathering was declared a riot. You know, whoever wrote this could have shrunk this down into one paragraph, I think, but I don't know. Anyway, they declared a riot. Several public address announcements were made to the crowd, informing them a riot had been declared and they needed to disperse immediately to the north. The crowd was informed that if they failed to disperse, it could result in citation or arrest. Those who did not disperse would also be subjected to tear gas, crowd control munitions, or impact weapons. Despite several warnings, the crowd remained outside of the Multnomah building. At 10:32, Portland police began dispersing the crowd. As the crowd was dispersed, officers were hit with projectiles. Around 11:26 p.m., the crowd began walking back toward the Multnomah building. Once again, several public address announcements were made to the crowd, reminding them a riot had been declared. Again, Portland police began dispersing the crowd. During the dispersal, a member of the crowd threw a rock at the sound truck. During dispersals, an officer sustained a minor injury. Around 12:25 a.m., the group marched back to Colonel Sumner's Park and soon after dispersed from the area. 2 arrests were made during the event. 23-year-old Jesse Hawk was arrested and charged with a riot, interfering with a peace officer, resisting arrest, unlawful use of a weapon, 2 charges, assaulting a public safety officer, 2 charges, harassment, 2 charges, disorderly conduct, 2, and attempt to escape. 40-year-old Peter Curtis was arrested and charged with attempted criminal mischief, 1, and reckless endangering. Some crowd control munitions were used during dispersal. No CS gas was used. So this is just continuing on and on. Look at that. They've put aim here and a circle, meaning they want somebody to hit that with a rock. And yeah, just these people, they are not peacefully protesting at all. There's nothing peaceful about this. Why? What does burning down a building prove to anyone? Is it really helping their cause? Of course not. They're wanting to cause terror. That's what they want. Terror, unrest, civil unrest, and this has absolutely nothing to do with the death of George Floyd, and I think we are all quite aware of that. Let's go on, and let's look at this. Now, let's look at this. Now, I know this was all over the news yesterday, and I should have brought it yesterday, but in case you have missed this at all, this is the Goodyear Tire Company, and let's look at this. They say they have 0 tolerance, and I apologize that this is blurry. They have 0 tolerance. What is acceptable? Black Lives Matter. They're allowed to, have that kind of attire or whatever. Lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, pride. So those are the things that are acceptable to Goodyear. And what is unacceptable? Blue Lives Matter. Oh, really? Because the police have a contract with Goodyear, but Goodyear thinks that it's unacceptable for members to support Blue Lives Matter. All lives matter. Apparently, that is also unacceptable. MAGA attire, or political affiliated slogans or material. And let me guess here. I'm guessing that that they are going to ignore it if you're wearing any Biden or Kamala merchandise. But if you are supporting Trump in any way, well, that's going to be an entirely different matter to them. So I think that this is very, very interesting and disconcerting. Goodyear to workers, you can promote Black Lives Matter, not Blue Lives Matter. This editorial is brought to you by former chief of police and current staff writer for Law Enforcement Today, Topeka, Kansas. Now even tire companies are getting into the woke business. WIBW 13 is reporting that they were notified by a Goodyear employee that the company has implemented a new policy which buys into the woke culture that anything to do with such social justice warrior initiatives is good. Support the belief? As Greta Thunberg would say, how dare you? A picture of a slide reportedly from a diversity training program put on by the tire company is titled Zero Tolerance and is divided into two columns, acceptable and unacceptable. Under the acceptable column are the usual suspects, Black Lives Matter and lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender pride. Unacceptable, anything which apparently goes against the far left Marxist agenda of Black Lives Matter. Support the police? Sorry, Blue Lives Matter is not acceptable. Think that everyone's life is important no matter the color of their skin? Wrong. All lives matter is banned. How about if you support President Trump? MAGA attire? Nope, not allowed. How about political affiliated slogans or material? Well, if it isn't the clearly political Black Lives Matter propaganda, everything else is likewise not permitted in accordance with Goodyear's zero tolerance policy. And of course, it's zero tolerance toward anything that doesn't go along with the far left narrative, evidently. I will never, ever, ever put Goodyear tires on my car, not ever, ever again. Thankfully, the tires that I have on my car now are not Goodyear. But they will tolerate a group, however, which advocates for destruction of property, taking other people's belongings as a form of reparations, killing or maiming of police officers, wide open borders, and the complete upheaval of the social construct. Even a tire company is now down with the revolution. The employee who captured the photo of the slide and said it was presented at the Topeka plant by an area manager, the slide was allegedly from the Goodyear corporate office out of Akron, Ohio. The employee, who was not identified, said, "If someone wants to wear a Black Lives Matter shirt in here, then cool. I'm not going to get offended about it. But at the same time, if someone's not going to be able to wear something that is politically based, even in the farthest stretch of the imagination, that's discriminatory." And this employee is right, whether it's male or female. Yeah, this is, it's unacceptable. And Trump reiterated that. He wasn't too happy. In fact, he's going to be changing the tires on the Beast, the car that he drives around, the armored vehicle. They are going to be removing the Goodyear tires and replacing them. And good for him. Now, understandably, the employee has chosen to remain anonymous out of fear they could lose their job, or what is more likely in this day and age, risk putting their life and that of their family on the line by having the gall to criticize Black Lives Matter. As we saw in Portland a few nights ago, do not cross the peaceful Black Lives Matter protesters or they will beat you within an inch of your life. The employee continued, "If we're talking about equality, then it needs to be equality. If not, it's discrimination." The news outlet reached out to Goodyear and, in true gutless fashion, they issued a cookie-cutter statement. "Goodyear is committed to fostering an inclusive and respectful workplace with all of our associates can do their best in a spirit of teamwork. As part of this commitment, we do not allow our associates to express their support on racial injustice and other equity issues, but ask that they refrain from workplace expressions, verbal or otherwise, in support of political campaigning for any candidate or political party, as well as other forms of advocacy that fall outside the scope of equity issues." Well, I would say that all lives matter doesn't fall outside the scope of equity issues, so what's wrong with it? Or Blue Lives Matter, what's wrong with that? The statement was signed by Melissa Monaco for the Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company. So according to Goodyear, Black Lives Matter, which has clearly established itself as a fundraising arm for the Democrat Party, is an acceptable political organization for its employees to associate themselves with in the workplace. However, supporting the men and women who protect their business across the country are not. Interesting, Goodyear is more than happy to sell their tires to police departments across the country. In fact, Goodyear tires are the tire of choice on a majority of newly manufactured police vehicles. Perhaps it is time for the police departments across this country to insist that perhaps another tire manufacturer, which actually supports police, have their tires installed on police vehicles. Maybe Firestone or Continental, who may be less woke than Goodyear, would like the opportunity for the police tire business. Now, I have heard, and actually I'm not going to go through all this, but yeah, I've heard that there are police departments now that are not supporting Goodyear. Certainly the president is not supporting it. There are people boycotting it, myself included. I will never put Goodyear tires on my any vehicle. I only have one, but now also their stock has plummeted. Their stock has tanked big time. Now, maybe that will send not only a message to Goodyear, but a message to other businesses as well, that the people are sick and tired of this. Sick and tired of this. So you go ahead, you support your Black Lives Matter, and which goes right into the coffers of the Democrat Party. You go ahead, but you're going to lose business. You're going to, people aren't, they're not going to stand for that anymore. People have had enough. So I think that's enough about that. And let's go back now and look at this. And my cat is crinkling a bag on the floor, if you hear that. Yesterday, Goodyear became the focus of a conversation that created some misconceptions about our policy and our company. No misconceptions. It came right from their, it was a slide from their presentation. So how could that be misconstrued? It couldn't. So yeah, and they sent a message to their customers. And of course, they're trying to backtrack now because they're realizing their stock is tanking and they're in big trouble. Big trouble. And especially at this time when so many people are struggling financially, they're not going to fare well during this. Not going to fare well at all. So I'm going to move on from that and continue on here. I do want to bring you the best bang for your buck, so I want to get as much in here as I can. All right, well, let's look at this, and this is so well stated. The day they started releasing criminals and began fining churchgoers should have been the day we realized this has gone way too far. Now, there is a church, I think it's in California, that fought back and won. But a lot of churches don't have the resources to be able to do that. And, you know, unbelievable that they're letting criminals out of jail, but Christians can't go to church. Unbelievable. So, let's look at this. I think this is all about the Goodyear again. Trump calls for Goodyear boycott. After reported ban on MAGA gear for workers, company responds. Get better tires for far less, Trump tweeted. I concur. Unbelievable. They're obviously not a business that is behind America and what it stands for. Evidently, they are siding with Black Lives Matter, so we will side against them. President Trump on Wednesday urged Americans against purchasing Goodyear tires over a reported ban on wearing MAGA hats and politically affiliated slogans for employees. Don't buy Goodyear tires. They announced a ban on MAGA hats, Trump tweeted Wednesday. Get better tires for far less. Trump added, this is what the radical left Democrats do. Two can play the same game, and we have to start playing it now. I agree with him. It's the only thing that they understand. Companies like that, the only thing they're going to understand is their bottom line. When they start losing money, they're going to go, uh-oh. Yeah. Trump added, this is what, okay, sorry. Yeah, and that is the actual Twitter there. The president's tweet comes after Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company's zero tolerance policy was made public. Goodyear employee shares a photo of company's zero tolerance policy, calls it discriminatory. And it is. Goodyear employee at a plant in Topeka, Kansas. We don't have to read that again because we've already seen it. Yeah, this is now, I don't know, this is showing a far less of a change in their stock than I saw, but I know it has tanked big time. Under acceptable were Black Lives Matter and lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender pride. Under unacceptable were Blue Lives Matter, All Lives Matter, MAGA, and politically affiliated slogans. Okay, well, I think that we have, you know, just about killed this story. So let's move on now, because, you know, there's other things happening. No, really, there are. Okay, and let's look at this. Gee, what could go wrong? Now, actually, now that I think of this, no, this is from today, hot and fresh, but I had talked about this before in another video that they were thinking of doing this, but this is actually from globalresearch.ca, excellent website, I think. The Florida Keys Mosquito Control District, yesterday, well, I better read the title, 750 million genetically engineered mosquitoes approved for release in Florida Keys. Community and environmental groups denounced decision citing environmental and health risks. Well, they don't care. Genetically engineered mosquitoes. What on earth could possibly go wrong with that? All right, Florida Keys Mosquito Control District yesterday approved the first ever U.S. release of genetically engineered mosquitoes. Oh, I'm sorry. Pardon me. Mosquitoes, despite public outcry and scientific dispute over the human health and environmental risks posed by this field trial, the approval permits the release of 750 million GE mosquitoes over a 2-year period in Monroe County, Florida, which may begin in 2021. I guess if you live in Monroe County, heads up, don't get bitten by a mosquito. I guess you'll need to bathe in off or whatever they make for mosquitoes. All right. Florida Keys Mosquito Control Board members have received more than 2,000 comments from Florida residents opposed to the release of GE mosquitoes. Despite encouragement from the public, the board members also rejected the proposal for a referendum on November's ballot, which would have asked Monroe County residents to vote on whether to accept or reject the GE mosquito trial. In 2016, voters in the proposed release site in Key Haven, Florida, voted to reject the GE mosquito trial. Why do we have to genetically modify everything? You know, everything was put on this earth. You know, it functions very well without our interference. You know, why do we have to genetically modify things? Really? It can only bring bad things. You know, just leave things alone. We keep playing God and wonder why everything gets so messed up. Because we play God, but we're not God. That's why. Neither the KFMCD nor Oxitec has publicly announced where or when the releases will occur. Documents submitted by Oxitec did not include details about an environmental impact statement. Well, it should. With all the urgent crisis facing our nation and the state of Florida, the COVID-19 pandemic, racial injustice, climate change, the administration has used tax dollars and government resources for a Jurassic Park experiment. Now the Monroe County Mosquito Control District has given the final permission needed. What could possibly go wrong? We don't know, because EPA unlawfully refused to seriously analyze environmental risks. Now, without further review of the risks, the experiment can proceed, said J.D. Hansen, Policy Director for the International Center for Technology Assessment and Center for Food Safety. Yeah, why did they genetically modify the mosquitoes, and what is this supposed to, what's the purpose of this? The Mosquito Control Board has an obligation to our community, not a vendor that's products are risky and untrustworthy. FKMCD wants to proceed with an experiment that may be damaging to public and environmental health and our local economy, said Barry Ray, executive director of the Florida Keys Environmental Coalition. We need true solutions to benefit our community and ecosystems. Yeah, not genetically modified mosquitoes. Like what? At Tuesday's meeting, okay, now I'm not going to get into all this. Let me see. So, okay, it says, as highlighted by a public panel of experts speaking on the topic, GE mosquitoes could pose significant threats to sensitive ecosystems in the Florida Keys. A recent field study in Brazil by researchers from the Powell Lab at Yale University confirmed that the mosquitoes' engineered genes had spread into wild populations of mosquitoes. Recently, a group of scholars from the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign questioned proceeding with the experiment on scientific and ethical concerns. And the ecosystem of the Florida Keys is already messed up because people had released their snakes that got too big, so they'd release them into the Florida Keys, and now there are no small animals left, absolutely nothing, because the snakes have taken over. That is, I would not want to be walking around in the Florida Keys for all the money in the world, because there are deadly, deadly snakes. And really, they have eaten up the rodents, the squirrels, the bunnies, the everything. There's nothing there left. It's snakes and alligators and apparently genetically modified mosquitoes. Woohoo! Yeah. Okay then. Let's go on, because there's more. Now, let's look at this. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have laughed at this, but I did. I've got to admit to you. All right, let's do this. Now, let me make this bigger for you tiny phone people. I know, I love my tiny phone people. I'm quite endeared to them. Like they just kind of, they get me right here. Because I figure, if you're going to watch this whole thing on a tiny phone, you are a devoted person. So I have to think of them. I have to think of them and do what I can to make their life easier. All right, let's look at this. This van was driving around where Joe Biden was, and look at the picture. Creepy Joe Biden, and here, Antifa for Biden. Love it. Let's look.
Antifa for Biden? Very bizarre, guys. Very bizarre. This isn't a truck going around. This is going around Wilmington, Delaware. What is going on?
Wilmington, Delaware.
Antifa for Biden? Very bizarre, guys. Very bizarre.
Creepy Joe Biden.
This isn't a truck going around. This is going
hysterical.
Around Wilmington, Delaware. What is going on? Antifa for Biden.
Now, whoever did this is smart. Now, and it wouldn't surprise me if this was Trump's idea, because this looks like something he'd do. It does. I mean, he is the world's master troll. So, yeah, I just think, and it's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. Because if people haven't seen these pictures, they're going to go, what? And there's more. There's more trucks going around. Yeah. So let's get out of here. It says, Antifa for Biden, I'm dying. This truck is driving around the area where he's set to give his formal acceptance speech later tonight. So that was August 20th. So it's today's news. Hot and fresh. Hot and fresh. Boy, I wish I had seen that. I would have gone up to the driver and shook their hand. I don't care about, the fake virus. Okay, and look at this. That sounded like I was demanding that you look at it. Look at this, if you will. Okay, WTF is going on in Delaware. Here is another one. Let's make it bigger for the tiny phone people. All right. Creepy Joe Biden. I love it. And he is. And you know what? If that was Trump going around and kissing kids on the lips and touching girls everything that he has done. It's deplorable. We've all seen the videos of what he's doing, and I don't know how anyone could look at those videos and say, what's wrong with that? I don't see him doing anything wrong. But the Democrats pretend like they're blind. They don't see it. But let me tell you, if that was Trump, that would be the headlines on every newspaper in the world. It would. We know it would. But I guess if it's Joe Biden, nobody cares. And he's obviously a pedophile. He just is not able to keep his hands off children. He's not able to. So, there you go. And let's go on now, because we can. And let's look at this. All right. Now, this you need to know. All right. This is Matt Moss, and he has put this to the attention of Donald Trump, James Wood, and Scott Pressler. Day 4 at my kids' online school, and they're already bringing in Marxism. I spoke to the principal today, and she flat out told me that the school is working with Black Lives Matter. Please share with all patriots. Well, I'm doing my job in that and sharing it with all of you, who I assume are patriots. Otherwise, I really doubt you'd be listening to me. So let me make it bigger and take a listen to this.
Greetings, patriots. My name is Matt Moss. I am in East Los Angeles, California. I'm a conservative. I love my country. I love my president. And I had to bring a very urgent message to you. I'm really asking for help for a lot of you on the conservative side. I wanted to share day 4 what my daughter is being taught in her school over here in East LA. You got the
Look at that.
anti-fascist, you have the Black Panthers Power of the People logo, or the Chinese CCP.
I just wanted to read this. It said Thursdays, intro to anti-racist what is this? Something and education. Practices. Okay. So it's intro to Antifa, racist practices and education. And that's what they're learning. Yeah. Okay, let's listen.
The communist logo. This is communism. This is Marxism being taught in the schools. This is the 4th day. I don't have a lot of allies out here. Thank God for all of you on Twitter. But I'm begging you, Donald Trump, Scott Pressler, anybody who will listen to me, anyone out there, please, seriously, help me. Spread this message around. This is what's being taught in the schools. I actually talked to the principal today. She was a very nice lady. I don't want to say her name. And she said, Black Lives Matter is working with the school. She told me flat out, the school is working with BLM. This should frighten anyone and everybody. Ridiculous. Please retweet, share at Real Donald Trump, please. I need your help. Please come to East LA. Seriously, you have no idea. This is ridiculous. I'm an open heart surgery survivor, as you guys can see. I don't need to be dealing with this. My kids should be going to school and learning about, American history and good things, not dividing the country. This is ridiculous. Please share and retweet. Thank you.
Now, I have passed it on to you guys, and I think I'm also going to go ahead and retweet this because I do my small part. But unbelievable. How would you feel if that was your child? The 4th day of school, and they're learning about fascism. Yeah, I'd be upset as well. So, let's go back now, and let's look at this by Donald J. Trump. They are sending out 51 million ballots to people who haven't even requested a ballot. Many of those people don't even exist. They are trying to steal this election. This should not be allowed. And down here, a family friend in Australia was harassed by several police last night for being out after curfew, 8 p.m. Allegedly, one cop got up in his face and threatened him. He was in his own yard putting out his rubbish bins. What the hell are you doing, Australia? Well, we have several listeners here that are from Australia, and maybe they can weigh in on this about what's happening. That is unbelievable. He was putting out his garbage. That's it. And they got angry because he was out after curfew. So I guess now the virus, only attacks people if you're outside after 8 p.m. The virus will surely get you. I guess it's out there hiding behind the trees and the bushes and the buildings, waiting for somebody to, transgress that curfew so it can jump on them and possibly kill them. That is what I have to assume, because they've got that. And I never understood. Up here, we had restricted store hours, like they'd have the store open for like 4 or 5 hours instead of 8. And I was thinking, how is that doing? Because everybody gathers outside of the stores in long lineups, which, nobody's staying 6 feet apart. And I mean, none of this makes any sense. And I think we fully know that this is an agenda. This is part of bringing in a new world order, control, and, the vaccine and all that. We just have to pray that Donald Trump gets in for a second term and that he makes this vaccine not mandatory, and that there is something done about, because what'll happen. Okay, he'll say, no, it's not mandatory. But private companies are already saying that they are going to require people to be vaccinated if they want to work there. So it's a little scary. And I know people that are in the States that are extremely worried about that, because they're like, well, I may have to be vaccinated to continue working. And what am I going to do? My friend Triple H in Houston, Heather H in Houston, she's wondered that. Am I going to have a vaccine in order to work? Am I going to lose my job? What am I going to do? Where am I going to go? It's scary. It's very, very scary. So let's come down here now and let's look at this. It says, are they all obsessed with plastic surgery, or are they not who they appear to be? Well, it's quite evident that Bill Clinton has had extensive plastic surgery. We look at him back here, lots of wrinkles, lots of very, very pronounced bags under the eyes. And, and here, no wrinkles, no bags, looking pretty healthy, looking like at least his eyes were done, and Botox. But I don't know. They do like plastic surgery. They all seem to. And you know what? If it's their money and they're spending it, that way, none of my business. But it does lead you to think, are these people really who they say they are? Is that really Bill Clinton, or is it a stand-in? Or I have a hard time with the whole clone idea. I'm just going to tell you that right now. Not that I'm not open to evidence, if there is any, but not real. I think these are people that just look like these stars that they use. I don't know. That could be Bill Clinton, but it might not be. I don't believe that the Hillary that we're seeing at the DNC, I don't think that's that's Hillary. I really don't. But who knows? I mean, I know there's people that would look at me and think, like, you're a special kind of stupid if you think that's not Hillary. But, we know what they do. I mean, look at Jeffrey Epstein. They tried to tell us that was his body. It most certainly was not. It was different ears, a different nose, everything. It was not Jeffrey Epstein that they took a picture of to prove that he had killed himself. That was definitely not him. So who knows? They play games. They make a reality by all of this. They seem to just make the narrative and go with it. And very few people, I mean, I know you guys question. Obviously, you wouldn't be listening to me. But most people don't question. They're like, yeah, that's Bill Clinton. Yeah. And maybe it is. But I'm not buying it. All right. Donald J. Trump says if you can protest in person, you can vote in person. And that is the truth and the very bottom line, right? So, and this by Charlie Kirk, how can the party of Believe All Women and Me Too have Bill Clinton as their keynote speaker and Joe Biden as their nominee? That is a very good question. Not only does Bill Clinton have a body count a mile long behind him, but he's also a rapist. And he's visited Epstein's Island 26 times. That's right, 26. But I'm sure he was just swimming and having a, whatever. So, let's move down here. Bill Barr just charged 200 people with federal crimes and made 1,000 arrests of domestic terrorists during Operation Legend. Democrat mayors refuse to do their jobs and keep cities safe. Return tweet if you're thankful for President Trump and AG Barr for restoring law and order. I sure am. It's about time somebody did something. And that's great. 200 people have been arrested with federal crimes and 1,000 arrests of domestic terrorists during Operation Legend. That is phenomenal. I don't know if it makes you happy. It definitely makes me want to get up and dance. Get up and boogie. I would, but it's just not convenient. All right. Well, let's look at this now. And yes. Former DHS official Miles Taylor says President Trump wanted to trade Puerto Rico for Greenland because Puerto Rico was dirty and the people were poor. Do I believe that? Not really. I don't know. That's a little bit out there for me. This is 1 minute and 20 seconds, and I'm going to play that for you. But first, I'm going to make it bigger for the tiny phone people. Okay, let's take a listen to this.
There was a time when, of course, we were spending a lot of our days down in Puerto Rico after the hurricanes wreaked devastation down there, U.S. Virgin Islands, and other places. There was a trip that we made down there in August of 2018, and I remember before we went, the president said something, and your viewers are going to be somewhat familiar with this. The president's talked before about wanting to purchase Greenland, but one time before we went down, he told us not only did he want to purchase Greenland, he actually said he wanted to see if we could sell Puerto Rico. Could we swap Puerto Rico for Greenland? Because in his words, Puerto Rico was dirty and the people were poor. These are Americans, Hallie. We don't talk about our fellow Americans that way. And the fact that the President of the United States wanted to take a U.S. territory of Americans and swap it for a foreign country is beyond galling. But this was a real thing. This is the President. This is the man who sits behind the Resolute desk. And these are the thoughts he has when Americans are in danger and recovering. I did not take it as a joke. And on multiple occasions, the President expressed interest in buying Greenland. And I'll go even further about Puerto Rico. The President expressed deep animus towards the Puerto Rican people behind the scenes. These are people who are recovering from the worst disaster of their lifetimes. He is their president. He should be standing by them, not trying to sell them off to a foreign country.
Well, I'll tell you, I think that the timing of this is a little suspicious. Why didn't this come out before now? Why does this come out just before an election? Gee, that's convenient, isn't it? Not only that, I just don't believe the president said that. I know that he was joking about buying Greenland, and maybe it wasn't a joke. Maybe he really did want to buy Greenland. But he was angry with Puerto Rico because he sent, I don't know how much money was sent to Puerto Rico. And you can see that there were warehouses full of supplies and everything else that didn't even get to the people. So he was angry with local government there. And gee, I would be too. So I don't know. I don't believe this. And the reason is that the timing is very suspect. Why wouldn't this have come out way back? Why now, right before the election? You know, and it's a little ridiculous. Yeah, let's swap Puerto Rico for Greenland. Like, you really think he's that stupid? Really? You really think he's that stupid? Well, apparently some do. All right. Well, let's go on because we can. And I'm going to stop here soon. How long have we been going? We have been going for 49 minutes and 48 seconds. And there I am. And there you are. All right. Let's go back. We have some more to get to. Okay, let's look at this from Greg Rubini. It says important, so, must be. All right. Greg Rubini said, number 1, assassination attempt on President Trump. French air-to-air missile found in a shipping container in a Florida airport. Mar-a-Lago is not far away from that. A deep state and Macron plan to assassinate Trump. Well, it wouldn't be the first time, would it? He's had several assassination attempts. And let's come down here because Greg Rubini has written more. Says 50 attempts because somebody said here, Sister Soldier said, I learned last night there's been as many as 50 attempts thus far. 50 attempts seem too many to me, maybe more like a dozen or so, which would be more than enough. Do you have a source for your info? I'm interested. And then he says, this person says, the longer they let these SOBs walk the streets, the more this could happen. And Greg Rubini says, exactly, I agree, 500%. And I thought there was more that he had written down here. Yeah, here, Greg Rubini, he says this, Florida airport evacuated after cargo container had a guided missile. A guided missile was found sitting in a cargo container in a Florida airport. Gee, I wonder what it was doing there. Bomb disposal experts from the U.S. Air Force were called in to, disassemble it. All right, so we need more than ever, if you are a believer, please pray for President Trump, because I'm telling you, there are so many people that want him dead. And I don't know what's going to happen. If he was ever assassinated, I think it would be, I don't know what would happen. I think the country would erupt in a civil war, unlike we've ever seen before. So please pray for his safety and security. I think he has very good people looking over him. I think he has his own people in there and people that he trusts protecting him. So, yeah, and this person says every shipping container must be inspected. I agree with that, especially with all the trafficking and everything else that goes on. Who knows what's in some of these shipping containers? Really? Who knows? And it says, consists of a quadruple launcher for Club Cruise missiles hidden inside an innocuous-looking cargo container that serves as a cover for the missile's transporter erector launcher and the control cabin. So, and here it is. Well, no, this is, let's talk about the Matra R.530F air-to-air missile seized by the Italian. The missile, originally belonging to Qatar, was sold to a friendly nation before being found in Italy. Interesting. So much going on in the world right now that it's almost impossible to keep up with it all. But, I mean, really, it's just, and the world seems to be getting smaller because everything seems to be getting very connected. All right, so let me just scroll down here to see if there's anything else. Okay. Well, I'm going to keep on that because, well, I'd really like to know what Greg Rubini, because I trust him more or less, has to say about this assassination attempt. All right, let's go back and see what else we can get into. And this from Charlie Kirk. Goodyear tires is a disgrace to America. I agree. They are banning employees from showing any sort of support for the president or our police officers, but will allow neo-Marxist Black Lives Matter Inc. propaganda. Can you imagine if it were the other way around? Outrage. Yeah, if they were supporting Trump, could you imagine the outrage? Oh my gosh. The whole country would be agog. All right, let's look at this. It says it's important, so I trust myself. It must be. All right. Oh, yes, yes, yes. The Republican base, conservatives, they see what Donald Trump has done. He's not a 50-year swamp creature like Joe Biden. If Joe Biden knew how to fix anything, why didn't he tell Obama? And that's true. That is Donald Trump Jr. And let's listen to what he has to say. Let me make it bigger for the tiny phone people. Okay.
Yeah, I imagine that part of the show is over. The media will continue to try to boost it as though it's a real thing. But the reality is the Republican base, conservatives, they see what Donald Trump has done. They've seen the unprecedented economic numbers that he was able to deliver. He's not a 50-year swamp creature like Joe Biden. I mean, honestly, Maria, if Joe Biden knew how to fix anything, why didn't he tell Obama? Why didn't he do it in the first half a century of his swamp career? Because he can't. I mean, so we get to see people like Bill Clinton, who yesterday put out a statement, literally on the same day that the photos are released of him getting a massage from one of Epstein's victims, and the Democrats still put him on the stage because they get to deal with liberal privilege, right? They can say and do whatever they want. No one's going to hold them accountable. No one's going to question them. They're just going to let you run with their gospel. You know, I imagine that part of the show is over. The media will continue.
Yeah, and you know, I think he is an outstanding orator. I really do. And it wouldn't surprise me if at some point in the future he runs for president. That would be okay by me. I'm sure it would probably be okay by you as well. But he is turning out to be a wonderful orator. He gets his point across very well. And it's true. 50 years he had to change something, anything, and he didn't. But now he thinks he's going to change the world and change America for the better? Come on. You don't just lays around for 50 years and then all of a sudden, oh, I'm going to do something now. Yeah. So there's that. Okay. And, yeah, let's look at this. No, really, let's. Bill Clinton trashes President Trump in DNC speech. At a time like this, the Oval Office should be a command center. Instead, it's a storm center. Wait a minute. This is the guy that, you know, in the Oval Office, yes, in the Oval Office, he stuck a cigar into Monica Lewinsky's vagina and then smoked it. And he's worried about Trump, you know, misbehaving in the Oval Office, I guess. The Oval Office should be a command center. Yeah, was it a command center when he was doing the nasty with Monica Lewinsky? Give me a break. Like, these people really have no shame. They have no shame at all. None. Now, I'm not going to get into this because who wants to? I just, Former President Bill Clinton trashed President Trump in his pre-recorded DNC speech that aired Tuesday evening. Tuesday night marked day 2 of the virtual commie convention, and it was a dumpster fire. Oh boy, was it ever. Yeah, so all right. That's kind of old news now too, because it's 2 days old. So usually 2 days old, you know, it's like a tuna sandwich. It's not good after the second day. You just don't eat it. It becomes suspicious. Yeah. All right. And I hate suspicious sandwiches. They're the worst. Okay. Now, Gigi Schick, whoever she is, this, it says, oh, yes, this is another feel-good thing. So you get 2 in one night. Wow. All right, here we have Marcus Harvey and Trey Jones from Marion, Indiana. They should be all over the news, but they're not. A few days ago, they saw a house fully engulfed in flames with people still inside. So they kicked in the front door and risked their own lives to save other Americans. And look at these guys. Like, that's awesome. Why isn't that in every newspaper? It should be. They risked their own lives to save their neighbors. Saw their house was on fire. I think that is awesome. And I like this meme. I like it a lot. The Rona waiting to see if I go to church instead of Walmart so it can attack me. Well, that's what they'd have us believe, right? That the virus knows somehow if you're going to Walmart or to church, because if you're going to church, well then, you're surely going to get it. Isn't that what they'd have us believe? Of course. Now, let me pick and choose here. Let's go to the ones that I've said were important. Yeah, actually, this is kind of old news now. You've probably heard about the reporter that asked Trump about Q, and Q said, well, let's go here. Real quick, I think you've probably heard this, but Trump asked if he supports conspiracy theory that he's saving the world from satanic pedophiles. I haven't heard that, but is that supposed to be a bad thing? President responds. Now, maybe some of you are wondering why he didn't just come out and talk about Q. I don't think it's time yet. And actually, he did answer the question because they asked him, do you, that the new, what did they say exactly? Maybe we have is this, yeah, let's do this.
We'll straighten out that problem in 24 hours or less. Okay?
Boy, that's very,
The theory is this belief that you are secretly saving the world from this satanic cult of pedophiles and cannibals. Does that sound like something you are behind?
Well, I haven't heard that, but is that supposed to be a bad thing or a good thing? If I can help save the world from problems, I'm willing to do it. I'm willing to put myself out there. And we are, actually. We're saving the world from a radical left philosophy that will destroy this country. And when this country is gone, the rest of the world would follow. The rest of the world would follow.
So that is very well stated. I don't know. I think he's brilliant. I really do. Because he's able to handle these questions and handle them in an unflappable way. He doesn't get himself all bent out of shape. He just answers the question. And he does so. And not only does he answer the question, but he trolls them at the same time. And I find that overly amusing. Maybe it's just me. But, All right. Now, let me see. Some of this stuff can wait. I can't remember what this is, but it was supposed to be in last night's show. Yeah. It says the 2-minute, 30-second Kamala Harris clip every American citizen must watch. Well, let's watch it. All right, but hang on. First, we need to make it bigger for the tiny phone people. Absolutely. Okay. Are you ready? She says, what is the greatest national, that's the question, what is the greatest national security threat? Let's listen to what, Kamala, I was going to say something nasty, but I caught myself in time. Thank you.
Security threat to the United States, it's Donald Trump.
We're talking about Donald Trump weaponizing Twitter in a way that could result in real consequence, including death, and we have to take that seriously.
Do you think he puts people's lives in danger when he targets them in tweets?
Absolutely.
Do you think he knows that?
Does it matter?
Plastic straws are a big thing right now.
Yeah.
Do you ban plastic straws?
I think we should.
Being practical also recognizes that climate change is an existential threat to us as human beings.
I don't even call it climate change, it's the climate crisis. It represents an existential threat to us as a species.
Will you commit to implementing a federal ban on fracking your first day in office, adding the United States to the list of countries who have banned this devastating practice?
There's no question I'm in favor of banning fracking. Back to the United States Congress, here's my point. If they fail to act as President of the United States, I'm prepared to get rid of the filibuster to pass a Green New Deal.
Would you support changing the dietary guidelines? The food pyramid, what people
yes,
reduce red meat specifically.
Yes, I would.
The status quo has been to determine and create policy around the idea that more police equals more safety, and that's just wrong.
I strongly believe that we need to have Medicare for all. And within that system,
do you think that's socialist or not, Medicare for all?
No. It's about providing health care to all people.
You support giving universal health care, Medicare for all, to people who are in this country illegally?
Let me just be very clear about this. I am opposed to any policy that would deny in our country any human being from access to public safety, public education, or public health.
And that includes illegal aliens.
The federal gun license?
I like the idea.
People who are convicted in prison, like the Boston Marathon bomber, on death row, people who are convicted of sexual assault, they should be able to vote?
I think we should have that conversation.
Well, there you go. Bet you didn't know she stood for all that. I didn't. All right. Now, I think we're going to stop there for tonight. And, yeah, I think that's a good stopping place. And you guys, thank you so much for listening. I appreciate it. I know you have a choice of where to go and who to listen to. And I'm always delighted and humbled by the fact that you listen to me. So thank you guys so much. Thank you for your prayers, your support, your comments. I appreciate it all. And I just like spending this time with you each night. So there you go. You guys have a wonderful evening. Stay safe, stay well, stay blessed, and keep seeking truth. Good night, guys.